The ladies of Disney's The View have gone full cuckoo, to the point the FCC is now asking should they shut down ABC and ABC News, at least some of their biggest broadcast stations. And wouldn't you know it, in response to this kind of dire situation driving Disney insane, the ladies of The View had on Craig Ferguson and used him and his segment as proof positive for the FCC. Yep, they're cray-cray, and they need to go away. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, damas y caballeros, welcome back yet again to the Pro Channel, where we continue to give you the news you need to know ahead of schedule. And folks, always on a platter of chatter served with truth. Capital T. Click the like button. Let's talk about The View and how they are driving Disney into a brand new feud with the FCC. No more games. The FCC is coming after ABC News and The View. This from thatparkplace.com by Marvin Montanaro, who I believe is on the panel right now. Marv, you wrote this one, right, eh?
I did, yeah.
All right.
I've been writing about The View quite a bit lately, and my mental health has suffered because of it.
I do apologize. We'll try to get you the counseling you need. The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, has officially opened the floor for public comment on a question that is suddenly becoming uncomfortable for Disney and ABC. Is The View actually a legitimate news program, or is it simply a daytime opinion show masquerading as one? The proceeding, announced by FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, asks whether ABC's long-running daytime panel series should continue receiving an exemption from federal equal time requirements typically granted to bona fide news interview programs. Marv, walk us through this. We've covered the FCC in great detail, and every day there's something else that comes out about this. Tell us what it is, and also, where are we at in terms of like the ramifications for Disney? Are we in the billions of dollars in danger for the House of Mouse? What do we have here?
So the federal government is making the case that The View should not qualify as bona fide news because it is so wildly partisan, and it is essentially at this point a propaganda machine. And The View was given bona fide news status in 2002. At the time, The View was a much better, or not better, well, yes, better, but The View was a much different show. There was more discussion. There were actual conservative panelists on there. There was more back and forth. Both sides of a specific argument would get a viewpoint on there. Well, now they're saying this is not bona fide news anymore. It doesn't count. So we want to take away their exemption because that would mean that they would fall under equal time rules, which means if you have a political candidate on, you would then have to grant equal time to the opposition. And that started after that, I forget the guy's name, that one Texas candidate who, Colbert was propping up and then The View had him on. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at now. I think it's more of just kind of changing the way The View does things. What would really cause Disney a whole lot of grief is if they pull their broadcast licenses. That would be catastrophic for them. But right now, the issue with The View is just kind of changing the way The View operates in a sense. So now what they're doing is the next phase of this is they are asking the public, what do you think? Is The View bona fide news, or is this just a propaganda machine that's dressed up like a news program?
Now,
If you remember, Pro, they had Anthony Weiner on and praised him.
What really drives this home, too, is that The View seems to always be operating in the exact opposite way from what Disney needs at the time. So they're now facing the FCC's fury. And at the same time, The View hosts Craig Ferguson, who is hilarious and who probably should have been one of the late night guys instead of, Stephen Colbert. But Craig Ferguson didn't bring Jeff, but he's there. And they attempt to force him into politics over and over and over in an insidious way that gives away this is not news. This is propaganda. This is from one particular viewpoint without any semblance of neutrality. And here's The View. And here watches Craig Ferguson manages to dodge these ladies and outmaneuver them. And it's frankly, folks, it's like watching a lab rat dance around a country mouse who's never approached anything with intellect whatsoever. This guy has an IQ of 140 and he's faced off against the 80s. Here we go.
So Craig, your tour is called Pants on Fire. Is there a lot of material about Trump in it?
There's no material at all in it. It's basically me talking.
Pants on Fire?
Because what happens is, in my culture, we start telling stories. You tell a story once, And then the next time you tell it, maybe you add a little more, make it more interesting. Yeah. So if you're on a tour, a story that's true at the first part of the tour, the time you get 10 dates in, there's not a word of truth in the story. It's a pack of lies. So I figured if I just tell everyone I'm going to tell a pack of lies right away, then up front, everybody knows.
Okay, so he manages to outplay them, right? They're attempting to turn this into an anti-Trump screed, which is what they do every single time, while at the same time the FCC's after them.
These hags are obsessed. Like, they are 100% obsessed with this. My goodness. He's on there to promote a comedy show, and they're trying to make it about Trump. This is disgusting, and he elegantly sidestepped that.
Right, and then they come back to it. We'll back it up just a second so we get the context. They don't let it go. They're determined, which, remember, folks, what is the FCC worried about? The FCC is asking you, is this news or is this propaganda? Is it just nonstop TDS? Here's their best attempt, number 2, to get Craig Ferguson to dive in with them, because he's a late night guy, but he's the right kind of late night guy, the kind who didn't get the job and should have.
Everybody knows.
So there's no politics in your show?
I don't talk about politics at all. Well, the reason I have it is
funny, right?
Well, there's that, and also the thing is, when you have a mustache, you have you know this. You have a responsibility to be charming, and because you've got to be charming if you have a mustache. So the reason why I don't talk, I'm sick of people that I agree with, never mind people I don't agree with. I'm just like, let's take an hour and a half, I'll go on stage, I'll tell you a bunch of jokes and do some stuff and tell some stories, and at the end of it, all the stuff that you're angry about is still there. You can have it back. I'm not taking it from you, but my job is just to, and also it was a choice that I made for myself, like a stylistic choice. Like, could I do it? Could I fill a whole show with no politics? And turns out I can.
Turns out it's easy. These women, just recently, Sunny Hostin and Joy Behar went on a vile rant a few days ago where they tried to tell Americans struggling with diseases that they shouldn't take cheaper medications because the Trump RX has Trump's name on it.
That's right.
I think they were trying to insinuate that Trump is somehow involved in the manufacturing of these medications, and their own co-hosts, who are usually in alignment with them, were like, "No, it's a marketplace. They're not involved in that," and they wouldn't hear it. They were like, "You're so naive."
Listen, they are doing no favors to Disney whatsoever. Every day, they put their finger in the eye of the mouse, and they say, we'll burn the house down. Whatever. If you lose these ABC stations, which is what's a possibility. If you lose these ABC stations in New York and Los Angeles, who cares? We're the ladies of The View. Screw you. Phil, we're at the point where it's just silly. And yet Disney never make a change. They never do anything about it. And it could cost them big time. They're going to screech. They're going to cry. They're going to say, oh, well, this is our freedom of speech being taken away. But in the end, it's really the fact that they don't know the difference between news and just screwing around with people and blasting one side of the political aisle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these crazy swamp hags that have nothing better to do they just freaking hate Trump, and that's what all they're trying to do. Like every woman who's like a housewife, right, or people who are just staying at home watching, they're gonna watch The View. It's like, okay, I'm gonna hear a bunch of these swamp hags tell me how to think. Tell me what to do. And they tried to do this with like Arnold as well, right? When he was here, he was talking about like the whole thing of like freedom and stuff like that, and talking about immigration. Like, they're trying to sort of like, hey, don't you mean this? No, I'm talking about like legal stuff. So they try to like cut him off. Like, we're going to go to commercial immediately. It's because they're not. He's not towing the propaganda that they're trying to force him to say. So I think, they're not news. There's just a talk show, and they just so happen to talk about politics. And now everything is about politics now.
That's right. Well, they would hate for the public to believe that. That's what the FCC is inquiring right now. How is it perceived by the public? And that's to get one more part of the metric together, one more part of the rubric together for the FCC's case against Disney. Andy, I want to go to you on this one in regards to Craig Ferguson. Craig Ferguson is doing it the way we used to do it, like for decades. The Johnny Carson way, the Jay Leno way. Maybe not the Letterman way, especially towards the end. But he's the Conan O'Brien of when Conan was on TV. Craig Ferguson knows his job is not to sit in the cesspit. He's not supposed to be in the sewer of politics. He's supposed to make as many people laugh and have a good time and set that aside for the 90 minutes or 2 hours they're with him. And it's brilliant. It's what we all want and desire.
Those clips where Craig Ferguson very cleverly will flirt with the young ladies that were on his show. Obviously not this one, because that would just be scary.
Oh, God. Easy now.
It's very typical, though, of the language thing that they do, where they take a word and they make it the opposite, and they try to push that thing so that it's like, like Social Security is not secure, all that stuff. Like, you got Whoopi and Sunny and Joy, and they're anything but. Like, there's nothing joyful about Joy Behar, and there's nothing sunny about Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg. He is in an interesting position, because he's one of the few guys out there that you've seen the decline of comedy, because, and I've had friends on the left, or the liberal side, I should say how the whole thing with Trump over since 2015 has killed comedy, because it's here we go again with yet another Trump joke. Everybody's tired of it. And he's doing exactly the right thing, going in there to try to make comedy funny again. Find things that everybody can relate to, common, ordinary things. That's why the Jeff Foxworthy had that tour for so long, and it was so successful. And it was just about like the common sense kind of approach. He understands that you have to de-escalate this thing. You have to draw it back from this political lens, but they're fighting it the whole way. It's like it's the crabs. When one tries to escape out of the bucket, the other one's pulled them back in. That's exactly what these crabby ladies are.
That is a great metaphor.
That is a really good metaphor. Like, what's happening here? What he's describing, where he's just like, oh, you can have your you can have your problems back, the things that make you angry when you leave, but I'm gonna make you forget about it for a little bit. He's describing comedy to them as if they're preschoolers. Like,
this
he's
is also what sports
describing
used
the
to
very
be.
concept of comedy.
This is what sports used to be as well, Marv. It's what going to movies used to be. You used to be able to say, hey, I disagree with you about politics, but who cares? You want to go watch a movie together? And people could do that. You could be friends with people across the aisle. We've let politics metastasize, and this is why the FCC is now looking at Disney and saying, we can't tell the difference anymore in your news, your opinion, anything. We don't know what it is. And there's actually rules about this up for network TV, because you're borrowing the network airwaves that the public gives you, so you have to actually edify the civilization, the society in some way. This doesn't do it. This doesn't do it.
If these hens cluck any louder, Lauren will try to fricassee them.
Hens and crabs. I don't know which one to go to with Lauren. Lauren, you take the choice. The crabs and hens, chickens and crustaceans. Which one do you want to go with?
I'm going to refrain from making the obvious joke, but if there's chicken to be slaughtered, breaded, and fried, I'm there.
Folks, for those of you who don't know, Lauren is a great lover of chicken. He loves every way you can cook a chicken, and he would never cook a lady from The View. That's the opposite of what he would do. He would leave them alone. 10-foot rule. Fair, Lauren?
Sure.
I think I figured out how to fix The View.
No, you didn't. There's no way.
You install a balcony and just have Statler and Waldorf heckle them for the entire thing. Whoopi, that's what we say after the show ends.
Ratings would double, which really I think says something about where the ratings are today. For those of you who don't know, The View, despite all the bluster, it's tripled in ratings by The Price is Right. Every single day, sometimes quadrupled. But hey, that's why they call it news, because if they declare it a news show, it's the #1 news show in daytime network TV, watched mostly by women in days that end, of course, with why. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew, and that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.